So earlier this year, I released a video talking about what fighting games I thought were going to blow up in 2020. And one of the games that I focused on was Soul Calibur. This is because last year it was announced that Soul Calibur was going to have its first world tour in 2020. So since I moved to Singapore, I decided to take the opportunity to talk with some of the Soul Calibur players here in Singapore. That's Panda Global Shen and Shen Ou, who's a commentator here for events. And we talked about the origins of the Singapore Soul Calibur community, what having a world tour means for a community, and how the fighting game might shift considering the current situation that's going on in the world. Hope you enjoy the video.
Hi guys, I'm Shen Ou, coming from Singapore. I'm a Soul Calibur player or commentator, and I've been playing the Soul Calibur series since Soul Calibur 2 back in 2002, so 18 years.
Hi, I'm Yuan, aka Shen Chan from Panda Global, and I've been playing Soul Calibur for approximately 16 years. It's been, it's the game that I grew up with, my childhood game. I grew up in the arcades, so the first time I actually went to the arcade was when I was 7 years old. So my mom brought me there with my brother, and we got hooked, into the whole culture thing. We started playing like KOF and many fighting games, including all those sports games in the cabinets. And then there was this game as I grew older that actually caught my eye, and it was Soul Calibur 2. It felt way ahead of their time in terms of graphics and how fluid the game was. So when I put my first token in and I just randomly mash, and I just felt that this was the game for me. Finally, I played King of Fighters. I played there was Virtual Fighter at that point too, but Soul Calibur was the game.
I first found the game in my local arcade. Just went over there, saw the game. It looked a lot different from everything else. A lot nicer than everything else that I was used to. I was used to seeing 2D games all over the place, so I picked up the game from there. And yeah, haven't stopped since then. The community in Soul Calibur 2 is basically how every other arcade community in Singapore was grown. We each had our own local arcades. We would play in our local arcades during the week. And then because Singapore is so small, it was very easy for everyone to gather in a central arcade at a place called Bugis, where everyone could meet, play against people from the other arcades, other region. It's only like half an hour travel down to Bugis for everybody. So just like for myself personally, I started playing the game at my local arcade. And then after that, I went online. I found out that there was this gathering every Friday, and I went down and I met everybody who plays the game in the country. And we kind of just continued meeting up and playing until eventually a couple of people decided, let's try starting tournaments, let's try building something, and that's how the community sprouted out.
Okay, there was a point in time, right? I think this was during Soul Calibur 4 era. So we're now at Soul Calibur 6, right? So Soul Calibur 4. The bunch of us, we actually went to France to compete in our first, it was quite a big tournament, first overseas tournament. So from there, we actually had this reputation from the tournament itself that we always, because in this game, right, in Soul Calibur, there's this lows. People don't really respect lows that much, as in you do a low attack. So Shen Yuan actually did low attack so many times that everyone was so hyped about it, because it's the frames on this low is very bad, but it creates it's what this low can create, the situations after that. So they were like counting, it was so high. Everyone was, the commentators were like, oh, he lands the 50th low of the night, the kind of thing. So because of this, we had this reputation of, if you give a Singaporean a low, right, you turn it into a goal. The kind of a mind. And it actually brought over to Soul Calibur 5, where our playstyles are pretty much, me and Shen Yuan are pretty much, I'm not sure about the rest, but me and Shen Yuan are pretty much, we mold our gameplay into, compact lows, and then we build off from there. Yeah, so give Singaporean a low, and you turn it into goal.
Wow, this is actually pretty loaded question, like top five Soul Calibur regions. I'm just gonna throw out the US, Singapore, France, and then I think I'll let the other countries argue amongst themselves for the last 2 slots.
Okay, in terms of, we're not talking about individual players standing out, but in terms of collectively as a whole, I think France is number 1 still, in my opinion, followed by US, and then Japan. So we're looking at these 3 as top 3, in my opinion. Yeah, after judging their strengths personally.
Why is a world tour important for Soul Calibur? I think it's important for any fighting game, any game in general, because it's not about the competitive aspect. It's about showing the world that people care about the game, showing the world that there are people passionate about it. You can have a very small number of people, but if it's got international presence, if people are playing it, then people will be interested. So having a world tour puts a spotlight on the title, and then more people can be like, oh yeah, I did play Soul Calibur when I was growing up. Hey, there's a world tour for it now. I'm interested, I used to love the game, maybe I'll watch it, maybe I'll find out. And that's how you get people engaged with the title, that's how you grow your community.
I mean, we've been on the sidelines. As you know, between Soul Calibur 5 and 6, there was, I think it was a period of 5 years. And I honestly didn't think that SC6 would ever come. So, and during this 5 years, right, we've seen games like Street Fighter 5, Tekken 7 really growing very fast because of World Tour. So, you know, when BNE and Namco, they actually announced that there'll be a world tour for Soul Calibur 6. Of course, you know, we're all elated that there's such thing happening. You know, like finally, you know, for the game that we've been playing for the past 16 years, finally have a world tour. So, yeah, definitely a very good future to look forward to. Okay, assuming that all is well, you know, with family situation and whatnot, I would attend. Let's assume the world tour is going on too. I would attend as much events that I can attend to get the points to qualify. So if it's in Southeast Asia, there's definitely Ref Major that I'm going to, and like for certain events like BAM, they are all postponed to the end of the year. Yeah, all these I'll definitely attend to rack up the points. So for me personally, I'll go to as much tournaments as I can.
For the remaining of the tour, if I were to make it out to any of them, I think my biggest stop is definitely Ref Major. Being in Southeast Asia, of course, I am most passionate about my region. So Ref Major in the Philippines is the one I'm looking forward to the most. It's also an event which I feel most of the world of Soul Calibur is not aware of. And for people who've been to Ref Major, they know what I'm talking about. The atmosphere at that event is pretty epic, and it's something most people would not expect out of Southeast Asia, and that's something I want everyone to be able to see. So with Okubo recently tweeting that the world tour is going to be delayed, I'm actually hoping that they try to, how do I put it? Instead of delaying it, but scrap the whole of the 2020 edition and then start a new season. Like ignore Evo Japan, ignore the dates that are already currently set, and come up with a whole new schedule to get people excited again. Because right now people are having this mindset where they were looking forward to something and it's already been taken away from them. So don't hold on to the leftovers. Like, let's start everything afresh.
Oh, it's going to be a bad year for FGC in general. Like I think what I mentioned earlier, TOs are getting affected very badly. Like if the events get cancelled, possibly by the mayor, they might go bankrupt. Like I think you know, CEO like Jabali mentioned that if he had to cancel one of them, he might not return next year because there's simply just not enough money in it. Because I think he has to dump like 100k into all these down payments. So I guess similarly we will see, you know, TOs not coming back for 2021 because the cost is too much to bear. So next year, I mean, I want to look at it in a more optimistic manner, that things will have to change and, you know, take into consideration all this. We might see rising costs, but I feel it's also an opportunity for many TOs to rise up. in 2021. So I don't know. I will just be the Ronin Vagabond Traveler next year. As if there's a tournament I can attend to, I'll be there. They can expect me to be there. I just hope that everything will bounce back. I don't see it bouncing back next year so quickly. Maybe by 2022. Yeah.
I think it's going to be very different. We are probably going to be missing quite a few faces in the scene, quite a few tournaments in the scene, but at the same time, I think next year will be a brand new start for the FGC. So there's going to be more opportunities, maybe more new tournaments, new organizers popping out, and I think it's something quite exciting that we can all look forward to.
So thanks again to Shen Chan and Shen Ou for letting me interview them for this video. So now I want to ask you, what scenes or regions or locals do you think should get more coverage in the FGC? Could it be your own? And what fighting game do you think should get a world tour in the future? And how do you think the FGC is going to change after this year? Would really like to see what you say out in the comments. Make sure to give a like if you get hyped for the Voldo dance. Make sure to subscribe if you'd like to see more coverage of fighting game players out here in Asia. So I left links in the description, but I'll let Shen Chan and Shen Ou tell you where you can find them. Catch you on the next one.
You can find me on Twitter at ShenOusG. So yeah, ShenOusG.
Okay. My Twitter is at ShenChanSG. You can follow me there. Facebook, Jovian the Cool. Everything else is Jovian the Cool because I'm cool. I have this obsession of being cool, so I have to be cool in front of the camera and when I talk to you. Yeah. So Twitter, ShenChanSG, Facebook, Instagram, Jovian the Cool. Oh, yeah, on Twitch it's ShenChanSG too.